इतना सा फर्क है कुछ होने में और बहुत कुछ होने में। इतना सा फर्क है एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में कि अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी कि एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानकुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और 7वें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क है। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा है। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
Good afternoon, everyone. With great hope that everybody is keeping safe and healthy at their respective place, Franchising welcomes you. Franchise India is Asia's largest integrated franchise solution company, which was established in 1999. And we truly claim that no one sells more business than us because we have helped thousands of investors in selecting the right franchise opportunity while helping and assisting numerous organizations in international and domestic franchise expansion. The first company to introduce and develop franchise market in India was Franchise India. We completely focus on franchise ecosystem and we welcome each one of you to 184th edition of Business Opportunity Over Chai webinar series. This is a digital platform through which we try to represent the brand of the day so that you understand the correct complete franchise model they're offering in market. We welcome management team of Franchise India, Mr. Gaurav Maria, along with our second panel member, Ms. Sonia Chaudhary. They'll be sharing their word of question, their industry perspective, and their suggestions with each one of us. And today we are representing two brands under one umbrella. We are representing a well-established award-winning brand of retro American restaurant chain since 1994, Tomatoes, and the second brand, an award-winning chain of Bollywood dhaba themed restaurants since 1992, Mirch Masala. They are known for their truly American decor, quality dining experience, and they have grabbed many prestigious awards that basically includes Time Food Award. They are currently present in 7 locations of different cities of across Gujarat, and it is our privilege to invite and welcome Mr. Rushid Kinwal, who is the founder of these two great brands, along with his operation and franchise head, Mr. Prashad. Thank you so much, sir, for joining in today. Over to you to explain your journey with each and every participant who have joined us today.
Hi, how are you? I think you're on a mute.
So we request you to unmute yourself.
How are you,
Thank
sir?
you so much.
Welcome.
Very well, Gaurav. How are you been?
Very well, sir. It's a
Okay.
and
So-
good to have. And let me begin with saying that this is one of the finest restaurants, and very very difficulty. I took about 10 years to convince them not to franchise because they were so very particular about the quality and that. So it's a pleasure to have you, sir, on our webinar.
Thank you.
Roshi sir, just allow me half a minute. I'll share my screen for you.
Sure, sure.
Over to you, sir.
Hi. So let's start with tomatoes. In 1992 is when we opened Tomatoes. Tomatoes is an American retro diner, and the reason I wanted to open up a diner was that one, there was none in India. TGIFs, Hard Rock, Ruby Tuesdays, none had come into India. And I was in America and I used to love visiting the diners. And the retro American diner, is all of you are aware, is the 50s and 60s where American culture was at its peak. They're the best of music, best of politicians, best of sports personalities. Things were happening all over the world. Hollywood was at its peak. We had the best of movies, actors, actresses. And that's the reason why we took this thing. There were a lot of big events that took place, like the moonwalk. And all this, when you come into our diners, you experience all this. You feel that you're back in the 50s and 60s, bordering on the 70s. We have rock and roll music playing. We have American food. We are a multi-cuisine restaurant. So we have it all. We have won awards for the best Mexican food. Consequently for Archana, can you go next? Yeah, right. So we have won awards since the past 10 years now, the Times Food Awards. And the reason that we basically have a successful model going is that we cater to the family crowd. We have the entire, because being a multi-cuisine, the youngsters come in and the families come in. So it's a very family-oriented restaurant, Tomatoes. Next. Could you go to the next? Yeah. We have a robust marketing strategy involving traditional as well as digital media promotions. We have a team of very young, dynamic, marketing team. We're all the time doing things on Insta and Facebook. We have a lot of food festivals taking place. We have more than 65,000 individual Facebook and Insta followers. So this is a happening place. What we have created is something that is happening all the time. Could you go next, please? So the cuisine served are global cuisine, like mentioned before. We have Tex-Mex, Pan-Asian, Italian, continental, and most important, Indian food also. So we cover up the entire family and everyone's choice of food. Next. Next, please. Okay, now the products and services that we offer. We have home delivery and takeaways. Our home delivery and takeaways currently in this scene, we do around about 70% of takeaways on Swiggy and Zomato's. Our ratings are excellent, and we have an average rating of on all the outlets of 4.1. The other thing that we do is a lot of food festival, theme-based festivals, like the Valentine's Day dinner. We have Mango Mania, we have Burger and Beer Festival, Mexican food festivals, pizza festivals. There's something happening at the outlet all the time. We also do a lot of outdoor catering. We have a separate outdoor catering division, in fact, and we cater to 500 to 50,000 people. We also have an unlimited power lunch with a new menu every day. We have a cake shop, in-house cake shop, which does all our desserts for the restaurants and also for our outdoor division. Could you go next, please? Next, please. Okay. No, it's not happening. Could you go next, please? Yeah. Okay. No, we've gone through this. Thanks. The next, please. Support to franchisees. Yeah. Now, it is very important that the support that we give our franchisees. Everyone is into franchising business. Everyone wants to get into the franchising business. Personally, we have gone very slow. We only do maybe a maximum of 3 franchisees a year. And we see that proper backup and setup help is given to the franchisee. Right from determining the right location for the restaurants to training, we have a comprehensive training program provided to staff and management for smooth functioning. We have we give them all the entire layout, basically the equipments, layout, providing them to buy it. Everything is done by us. And we keep on passing on the benefits of our R&D department, which is all the time we coming up with new stuff, new food. We pass it on. We have also, like I've told you about the advertising and promotions. We give the franchising all the artworks, all the layouts, and all the advertising backup from our end. And all the time there is a regular PR coverage being given to the outlets. Next, please. Yeah. So the financial facts. Our outlets generally, a tomatoes would need around about 2,600 square feet. If it's a bar, it would need the same, because all our restaurants that don't serve liquor, also the center of our activities is the bar. And there are a lot of cocktails, mocktails, desserts, sundaes coming out of the bar. So there's always action happening at the bar, and people like to sit on the bar stools and watch. And of course, there's a lot of popcorn coming out, fresh popcorn coming out from the bar also. At Tomato, the minute you sit down, you get a hot basket of popcorn to keep you occupied while the food arrives, and it's a favorite with all the kids. The approximate investment would be 1.87 crore for a tomatoes of 2,600 square feet. And the franchise fees that we charge is 25 lakhs. The royalty that we take is 8%, and the average payback would be about 2 years, 2 to 3 years. So that's your the financial facts for tomatoes. Are there any questions that you would like to ask me?
Thank you very much. I think we'll take some questions from the audience. And in the meantime, I'll start with some questions which I'd like to take from you. Looking at the current situation because of this COVID and restaurants and things of that nature, and like Burger King also got into IPO, and one of the big statements they did was that they would like to consciously focus on delivery with the restaurants also. So is there a big change you saw or you see going forward, while diners would also have a little bit of a, because to really maximize your current capacities, would you have a conscious focus on delivery? That's one point. And second, is delivery be treated as a separate business model? Because on one side you want to really sweat out your real estate which you have for the restaurant, and the second side you have a capability and a strong brand which can also deliver. And is it conflicting sometimes, because the pricing and delivery is very different sometimes, the diner experience is very, very different? Your viewpoint on that?
After the the lockdown, we were very skeptical. We didn't know what to expect, and we started with a very skeletal staff for deliveries, basically, because initially it was only deliveries. And we were shocked. We never imagined that it would pick up that much. And that is when I realized how powerful the brand is and how much people trust us and our clients trust us. We had to immediately call for more staff, and we had to start our in-house dining also. And in a matter of the first month, we were back 75%, which was very shocking, even very to us, because we didn't know what the hell is happening. How are people yet, of course, we take a lot of precautions. We follow the social distancing norms that the government has laid out and FSC has laid out very strictly. And people see that. And sometimes we also get into tips like with the guests, because they are not they refuse to accept the norms of social distancing when they're sitting down, because they come in the same car, they're from the same family. But yes, having said that, we came back fast, and deliveries today, for example, when you look at Ahmedabad, there is a curfew which starts at 9 o'clock. So I have to take my last guest in for in-house at 8 o'clock, so that he's out by 9. And deliveries are going start now by 6:30, which used to start at 7 8 o'clock. So by 6 o'clock, deliveries and orders start coming in with Swiggy, Zomatos, all of them. And we have our own delivery service also. And people are coming and doing takeaways and everything. And we are yet doing this nearly the same sale, like I said, 75% of the turnover. So it is happening. It's not that, people are only, we realize how important deliveries, like I mentioned earlier, 60% is deliveries, but that is all this put together. Takeaways, where people come in, where a guest come and pick it up, because we offer them a 15% discount for takeaways. So they come and pick it up, and they think it's safer when they come and pick it up. And then the delivery platforms and our own thing, that amounts to about 60%. So this is
very good
trend that is coming.
And this is something which I should really share with you, because we are in touch with all the other restaurants in India wide, and exactly what you're saying is happened, because when this whole opened up, people want to go to places they can trust. So all the marginalized players actually have shrunk. It's not that what you got was a great response. If you see, even I was in Dambuk in the other day in ITC with going for dinner with somebody, and I found the entire restaurant was packed. Why it was packed? Because people would trust ITC, they would trust Dambuk, they would trust entire thing. So similarly in your case, because historically, in particularly in Ahmedabad, you have been an iconic name and most consistent brand people would have seen over the years. So not even traditional brands or traditional structures have not been those so consistent as you have been. So there is a lot of a level of a trust which people have in these times where you have, and like Juan, it was the biggest example when COVID really opened up or lockdown opened up. People went to KFCs and the McDonald's rather than going to even their local Chinese restaurants, because they trusted the brands, because they trusted that this would be much safer place. So I'm not surprised that happened with you, and you would rather surpass your pre-COVID sales and get to the next level. For many reasons. One, marginal players would not come back. They were just there because everybody was an opportunist in food, and we all seen last 4 or 5 years before COVID, just people without even any background on food got into food and started restaurants which didn't make sense. They had no microeconomics, no supply chain, no product development, nothing really. Just was being opportunist on coming into a space like that, which essentially would not come back. So I think 20-25% shrinkage would happen on that size from the number of operators which are available there. Second, I think it would now balance, and very clearly people would dine out, but they would make choices where to dine out. They would rather indulge because they want to really go out and indulge. And when they're dining, we're ordering from there, it will become much more frequent and staple rather than experimenting too much. So they would like something from somewhere, and they would continue to do that. So now the second question is, and this always I had with you, because you're very choosy on who you want to partner, why you want to partner, and where you want to go. And so what are the 2 or 3 markets which you feel are no-brainer at this moment, and would you like to take Tomato to? And because bar restrictions are some places there in Gujarat particularly, but other places you have officially you can have a bar, especially Maharashtra, the bar license is much easier, and especially beer and wine is very, very easy to get it. It becomes a very interesting proposition. Even some cities like Chandigarh, it's very easy to get that. entire thing. And truly speaking, India still doesn't have any diner left. I mean, there were only 2 diners outside you, which were International TGIF and Ruby Tuesday. Unfortunately, for other reasons, not from the acceptability of the product or things like that, they both are not active. So truly speaking, you are the great diner option available at this moment, where people would like to do this retro diners, which is like Denny's or a TGIF or a Putruckers or any other international chains which we all have grown up on. You are the only diner, and you are also more closer to what Indian palate is, because that's very important. We have also understood that this and that. Any comments on the markets which you want to really focus on?
The markets currently would be Delhi, Chandigarh, like you said. It would be tier 2 cities, because I believe that the tier 2 cities and even the tier 3 cities have got a lot of potential. So I would look at those cities also, because that would be, because I'm in small cities like Vidyanagar near Anand, right? And they are doing as much as sales as a Baroda or a Ahmedabad would do. So opening in Nadia a tomatoes, imagine. When it happened, I never imagined that we'd go to this thing. I told the promoter, I said, are you sure you want to open this thing? You can do a milk masala, but why would you want to do a tomatoes? And that's rocking too. So I think the tier 2 and 3 cities have got a lot of potential. There are a lot of players in the tier 1 cities. So yeah, Delhi is a good market. Gurgaon is good.
Delhi is obviously a winner as a market, and especially places like and it is a small format. It's not too big, and that's what formats like, which is 60, 70 covers kind of.
Yes, that's right. Bangalore is a good thing. Chennai is good. These are cities that have the potential.
Because there is nothing available there. Like if somebody wants to open up in Kolhapur, it's a very rich city, very, very good, a lot of youth, a lot of colleges, a lot of this and pieces. Actually, no place to really go for a family diner or places like that. So these are kind of be places from Aurangabad, Nashik, Nagpur, Indore. These are places where there is a lot of opportunity available. And if anybody is interested in any of these cities, Udaipur is a great market, Jodhpur is a great market. These are all good markets and very easy to service and structure. And now the third question I will take, and then I'll probably bring in Sonia to really take her questions and also questions from audience. How much is the menu design structure you would customize when you move into a market like that? Because one of the areas which I have actually always liked about your business is that you have been a very product focused company. You have not. That's why you were consistent. Mirch Masala has been historic brand, and tomato has also been there because you have actually worked very hard. And I know how tough market of Ahmedabad is. I always say in my restaurant forums also, I say if you are successful there, you can be successful anywhere, because it's actually evolution of a customer. Unilever never entered Gujarat for ice cream because they felt that to make Gujaratis happy for the ice cream is impossible. So they actually left one state. Every other state they've gone. They've not gone to this state because they feel that their product is not ready for that market. It's a very highly demanding market because an average guy from his expectation of the quality of food is very, very high. And fortunately, a lot of food is also good. Food is available there. So if you go to any other market, how much you would really like to customize and what changes you plan in the menu development and product development?
I believe that it's very important to customize your taste at the same time. Like when we opened up Mirch Masala in Calcutta, and we had our PR parties, we had a press, invited the press, and the feedback we immediately started getting is, yeah, there are seafood to chahiye, mustard to hona hi, sarso to hona hi chahiye, the medium. And the biryani that you are serving is very different from the biryani that. So we went, and before we start, we did a survey. We went once again into the market, checked out, and then we had both the biryanis. We had our dum biryani. We also had the dry biryani that the Bengalis prefer, and we added a lot of more seafood. So yes, it is very important to study the market, the preferences, Like we didn't know what a cheese anguri kofta was till we went and to Anand and all these places, and there they love their cheese, with all their gravies and stuff like that, cubes of cheese with everything. And so we do, innovate according to what the local palate would require us to. And of course,
and a Bengali would not finish his meal. He will not call his meal been done unless and until he has rice. So he has to have a portion of that. Is true, and this is what uniqueness and acceptability of a markets are. But by the time the brand has a visibility of putting 15 to 20% of what I call do that, but I'm also a big believer that brands stand for something. They have their own audience and their own loyalty. So they call the destination product. That doesn't change, but they accommodate an audience which is coming along with that, and they also become loyal and they want their little bit of appreciation of that view on the market, right? So it's that appreciation they like about doing it, but you cannot become a completely local trying to.
No, you can't.
Yeah. So over to you, Sonia, for your question.
Thank you. Some might, because I'm just being reminded, we have another presentation for Mirch Masala, which also needs to be done. If we can take maybe quickly 5 minutes out with that presentation as well. If that can be completed, I'm sure we can have questions from our viewers on the second brand as well.
Mirch Masala 1992 is when we set it up. Mirch Masala is one of the most popular restaurants in Gujarat, chain of restaurants in Gujarat. And we are in all the major cities of Gujarat. And Mirch Masala is a Bollywood dhaba themed restaurant. It's got a lot of antiques put up. They've got rickshaw. A few of the restaurants have got an auto rickshaw inside, which is used by the kids to play around. And then there are restaurants that they've got bullet motorcycles and a lot of these things put up all over. And I collect antiques. A lot of antiques are put up, movie posters, and it's a trendsetter. It was one of the first themed restaurants to be put up in Ahmedabad. And the reason we went for a dhaba is because it's so casual. We have people, our guests are staying in 5-star hotels, but they head straight to Mirch Masala. And the minute the executive sits in Mirch Masala, the first thing is he takes his tie and everything out, and he's freaking out to all the Bollywood music and stuff. And it's a restaurant that serves, on the menu, we have live chaat. So there's a visual kitchen for chaat, and our halwais are making chaat, jalebis, gulab jamun, all live. They're very, very popular. It's a restaurant that has got a very high turnover and we don't have soups on the menu. It's just starters from the tandoor, and the halwais are making their starters, and then it goes on to the main course, and that's it. So the turnover is very fast in a Mirch Masala, and it's a restaurant that has only one department. We are only concentrating on Punjabi, khada masala, khana, dhaba food, different types of dals and biryanis and stuff like that on the menu. It's won a lot of awards. It's won 7 consecutive times food awards, and for the best North Indian restaurant in casual dining, and it's across 5 cities in India. Can I go next, please? Yeah. Again, at Mirch Masala, it's again a family restaurant. We have the young as well as the old coming in, and we have a lot of NRIs visiting us in the NRI season. And here too, like we do for our other brand tomatoes, we have a robust marketing strategy involving a lot of digital platforms that we are on, and everything. There's competitions going on. There's something or the other going on all the time to keep our followers engrossed, and a lot of prizes and free meals and a lot of things happen all the time. And this is what keeps us in the news. Next, please. So, yeah, I mentioned the cuisine to you. It's authentic Punjabi, Indian, tandoori delicacies with Indian chaat. We are very particular about the kind of the raw materials that you use. With the Indian food, especially, you've got to be very, very particular with the garam masalas. And we have our own in-house garam masalas for the tandoor, for the gravies and sauces. And this is what we provide our franchises with to get our unique Mirch Masala taste. We use a lot of desi ghee in all our cooking preparations because we believe that is what gives it the flavor. Next, please. Yeah, and again, we are on for home delivery. We do a lot of home delivery, takeaways, outdoor catering, and again, our average rating is 4.1 out of 5, and it's a consistent rating. We have about 50,000 people, that we can cater to out of a Mirch Masala. This thing, we don't have centralized kitchens and everything, but we can even then cater our outlets, and a few of our kitchens are large enough, and a lot of parties that we do from Mirch Masala. And again, a lot of festivals that happen all the time. Right now, there is sarso. The minute winter comes in, we have sarso da saag, makki ki roti, hara lasuni sabzi, gajar halwa, and all those things come inside. People are waiting for the winter festivals to start and the winter menu to come in. And yeah, can you go next? Yeah, next. We can go next. We can skip this. Here again, for a Mirch Masala, we have for the setup, whenever we get into a franchising setup, we are involved in the location selection right from the beginning. We are very particular about the location of the restaurant, because I believe the restaurant should have, it's very important that it should be visually visual from the street, from the high street. I do not prefer to have restaurants where it's not visible, even if the rents are a little higher on the high street. But if a brand is visual, I believe that you take a hoarding and you pay $1.5 lakh, you might pay 75,000 to $1 lakh of rent more, but at least that is it hammers all the time. So we are very very particular about location and parking, especially. Training is we give all in-house training to the new unit, whether right from your purchase, stores, to the cashiers, to the captains. We have a very good software, in-house software program developed, very, very good, and we train them for that too. There's all the time R&D. We believe in doing a lot of R&D for the menu, to improve our systems, our software. All the time we do that. And the other thing is that, like I mentioned about advertising and promotions, everything is happening all the time. In fact, this time right now, when the city is closing restaurants at 9 o'clock, we are out there giving radio ads. We are the only people where you on the local radio stations, we are advertising, we're putting it in newspapers and everything. Because I believe it's like times like this, there are franchisees who need support also. And when the times are tough, that's a time when you have to spend money for marketing. So we are doing that. And there's regular PR coverage. And can you go next? The business plan. Yeah. Here you could, we can look at modules which are as compact as 2,500 square feet. And approximately the investment would be about 1.71 crore. The franchise fee again is 25 lakhs. The royalty is 8%. And in 2 years, there should be, the ROI should be reached. We only go, we only approach, we would only accept franchises when we are very confident that the franchisee's location, his rent, and that kind of turnover is possible. Only then do we go ahead and sign with the franchisee. It's very important that he should be making money and he should be breaking even a lot sooner than the period that we have mentioned. Thanks.
Thank you again, Shiji. So just to add, I feel what you have done in the last so many years of running these restaurants, you've also retained the heritage, the retro look, the Bollywood, and also you brought in the modern day relevance and making it experiential for your customers, where food broadly has been driven by consumers' desire for convenience, socialization, and high quality food and service, which have always remained and has been in the past also the quintessence of the business. So I have a question, which I also see some of our audience asking that. This is typically on the margins, and margins, pressure are intense for restaurants of all types and sizes, and making cost management more essential than ever. And would you want to maybe reflect upon that? Because, with tighter margins, which are the new norm, how do we run even leaner than what we were doing? And today, expenses are linked with the revenue than the other way around. So, do you think any kind of reworking in terms of operations of the existing model?
The COVID has taught everyone a lot, of, and especially you're cutting down of your overheads, operational overheads. This is what it has taught all of us. All of us are leaner and a lot more efficient. And we also realized this COVID has taught us that, okay, you can manage with X staff when we had Y. The whole industry has learned, that, okay, fine, today we can manage with that much. So cost cutting is most important. Obviously, that's the only place to increase your profits is your purchase and your cost cutting, and that is happening all the time to increase the bottom line. And everyone is doing it, and we are doing it too. Our advantages are that, okay, fine, we have bulk purchasing because we have so many units all over, and our franchisees get the advantage of that. Bulk purchases and suppliers giving them very good rates and stuff. So that is the advantage franchisees get from us.
Absolutely.
We'll take another, question on the ROI guidance. Since we talked about a time frame above, 3 odd years, do you think there would be a delay in terms of this ROI? And based on your own experience of running these restaurants in these, critical times, what do you think should ideally a restaurant be able to, in terms of their throughput, both in terms of the seating capacity, which needs to be leveraged, and also in terms of the delivery? So between these two, one, what is the ideal mix of the revenue? And do you foresee any kind of delay in terms of the ROI on the business overall?
See, today, as we are aware that a restaurant graph, unlike other business graphs, basically on the day one, it's right up there. When a restaurant is new, it's crowded, you are getting fabulous sales, and then it takes a dip and stabilizes, and that is what the sale is going to be. ROI, I believe, if you are recovering an investment in 2 years, that is, which business will make you will be better than that, right? You're making profits from day one. Obviously, our margins are excellent. When you're looking at both our brands and the kind of turnover, because it's very important. All this depends on your turnover. So today, if there are many franchises who just want to sign up, we are not interested in that. We have to be convinced that turnover is going to happen. If that turnover happens, obviously all the operating overheads will be perfect. Will come in the parity that we want it to. And your ROI also will be sooner. It all depends on that.
And just helping maybe our viewers also understand a little bit on the unit economics. How does it work? What is the kind of food cost typically goes in the outlet? What kind of rentals do you foresee? For a format like that, 2,500 and maybe beyond. And what kind of manpower is required for this format?
See, for these formats, it's like this. That number one, the most important thing that is skilling and has skilled most of the industry during this pandemic also, we have learned other rates. Okay. Now, if I learn that the franchisee has got a very high rent and his property is excellent, but even the rent is very high, right? Then he is borrowing a lot of finance from institutions and he's giving me royalty, right? At the end of the thing, what is going to be left for him? So we're going to play it smart. That's the reason we sign over 3 to 4 franchises. That's about it, not more than that. Because we want him to make money from day one, right? And the rents basically depend from place to place, from city to city. Salaries in our industry have, as you all are aware, that it's gone up to 15 to 18%, where at one time it was 12, but it started at 8%, then 12, and now it's come to that much. But yes, these are things that we are looking at all the time, It cannot be more than 18% of staff. And we enter a city, we look out at the salary structure in the city. If their salary structure is very high in a tier 1 city, we get our own staff down. And all the time we are training people who we are sending to our various outlet, our franchisees.
Correct. And so on an average, what kind of APCs would the business have?
See, Mirch Masala would have an APC for the non-vegetarian. This thing would be around about 650, and for the vegetarian it would be about 500 rupees.
500.
Same with tomatoes.
All right. And what is the kind of radius we're looking within which a particular franchisee can operate?
Again, it depends on from city to city. It varies. There are some cities which are tier 3 cities. You can only give one franchise. We can in the whole city, right? Then Baroda, it was one. Then the city grew 2. Now the city is really grown to various parts. Now there are 4 franchisees. But now we know, okay, now 4 is enough. We cannot give any more. They start eating into each other. It's not fair on the franchisee.
Right.
So we are very particular about that.
And so the entire training would happen at the restaurant itself, where it is located, or there's some training which also happens?
No. We have a training thing here in Ahmedabad, and it would be necessary for the senior staff to come down for training here. After which, our trainer would be visiting the outlet, and then they will be conducting training classes there. But the key people should be down in Ahmedabad into our restaurants during operational timings, and into operations, so they know that when they open it up, this is how it is done, and they would do the same thing there.
And how long does typically take for a franchisee to get it up and running from maybe site selection to the launch?
3 months.
3 months time. And what kind of support is given by the company at the time of the launch? Are we kind of investing, because most of these markets, if these are new markets and new locations, and what is the expectation from a franchisee in terms of the investment to launch, and what kind of support will also the brand provide at that time?
See, the launch is the most important for any brand in a city. We have like I had mentioned before, we have the best of advertising agencies, and our in-house marketing team also. And we know that, okay, fine, minute you move into a city, how many hoardings you need. So we are advising the franchisee. We are talking to the thing. We have press conferences held for them. We have a lot of PR parties that have to be put into place. And we are along with the franchisee for all these. All the creatives are provided by us. And the launch ad is also borne by us for the launch. This is how we get into a city. And
Right. I have Mr. Rahul. He, in fact, is checking if we are open for a place like Nagpur between these two models, or we have a preference of one in that market.
Nagpur is a very good market. Very good market.
Nagpur, we have a good consultant. Raipur is a very good market. We also have Santosh, I can see on a call. He looks after Goa. Goa is a very good market. Very, very good market. So these are top class markets. Which
If I can request, we have some questions we've answered, and maybe we can take any of these questions if you think anytime in this week, towards the end of the week, where we can set up maybe a call with you, with the prospects who have shown interest. If that is okay, we can connect with you and fix up a date where we can block maybe half an hour with each of our investors to take our discussion forward. Or any other day that you think is convenient, we can block based on your availability and convenience.
Certainly, I'll let you know when and we can do it. No problem. Definitely.
And Shaji, before we close, would you want to leave maybe a message for the audience who's listening to you, both on the Facebook Live and also the audience which is present?
My only message to them would be that they should first visit us, experience what we have to offer, and then make up their minds if at all they are thinking of tying up with us. Very essential that they visit us, see what we're all about.
Absolutely. And try the food and hospitality, and you will be impressed. I can speak for it. It's a very, very good and very committed.
Thank you, Gaurav. Thanks so much.
Good to have you, sir, on this call, and it's always been great to and the kind of work you've done in the industry. We want to have highest praise for that. So thank you very much for coming on a call.
Thanks, Gaurav. Our
Thank
pleasure,
you.
totally.
Thank you for all
Thanks
the
so
time
much.
you put in with us and our viewers today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rushil sir, for joining in today. Thank you so much, Prashad, for all your support and your help during preparation. Thank you so much, our panel member. Last but not the least, all the dear participants who have joined us today to understand this great brand. You can connect with us at our business hotline number, which is 97176-83838. That's the number where we invite all your suggestions, your feedback, and your queries. Please do share your detailed profile, your location, so that the entire team of Franchise India can help you with the best of the solutions. You can connect with us, get in touch with us at our different social handles, information on your screen. You want to rewatch this particular webinar, and since we have done so many brands, independent brand presentation as well as franchise show, please visit us at Franchise India Brands Limited Facebook page. You can go under video section and you can watch all the previously done webinar. You can connect with management team of Franchise India at their respective LinkedIn ID. That's the information on your screen. We at Franchise India team will definitely help you with the best of the solutions. And tomorrow we invite you for Money Edge. It's a premium financial and service consulting provider company. Please do not miss this chance. Join us tomorrow sharp 12 p.m. to understand what kind of a value proposition they are creating in market. Thank you once again for joining us today. Take good care of your health. Stay safe, stay happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.